Today Dong Fu invites you to delve deeper into the Dhammapada, the 37th verse from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TIionG USA, dwelling in the cave of the heart. Without form, the mind wanders far and moves alone. Those who subdue this mind are liberated from the bonds of Mara. Let us begin by gently observing this nature of the mind. Like a bird that soars high in the sky, the mind moves swiftly, quietly, unseen by others, and often even unseen by ourselves. It is like the wind, which cannot be held, but can be felt in its passing. So too the mind passes through thoughts, feelings, desires, memories, plans, without warning, without shape, without boundary. This verse from the Dhammapada tells us that the mind lives in the cave. The cave here is not a physical space, but the deep core of our being, the heart, the subtle consciousness, the hidden chamber of our existence. The cave is where silence resides, where stillness speaks, where truth is hidden from the eyes of the world. This mind, though without form, has power. Power to create, power to destroy, power to cling, and power to liberate. And so, the Buddha teaches that those who are able to subdue the mind are the ones who are truly free. They go beyond the reach of Mara, the force of delusion, the power of craving, the prison of suffering. So how do we begin to subdue this mind, which moves alone, which follows its own will, which is subtle, elusive, and swift? First, we must learn to sit in silence, without distraction, without chasing anything, just to sit and breathe, just to feel the breath come in and go out, just to feel the present moment, not adding anything, not removing anything. To tame the mind is to return to the present moment, again and again. Even when the mind wanders, we gently bring it back. Even when thoughts arise, we let them come, let them go, like clouds passing through the open sky. The sky is never disturbed by the clouds, and the mind, when it is not clinging, is not disturbed by thoughts. When we look deeply, we begin to see that the mind wanders because it seeks something. It is hungry. It is restless. It is searching for fulfillment, for satisfaction, for security. But the nature of craving is that it is never satisfied. As soon as one desire is fulfilled, another arises. And so the mind keeps wandering, like a fish flopping on dry land. It cannot rest. It cannot breathe. The Buddha saw this very clearly. He saw that the untamed mind is the source of all suffering, and he taught the path of mindfulness, the path of meditation, the path of virtue, the path of wisdom, to help us return to stillness, to return to the heart, to enter the cave, and know ourselves. To tame the mind is not to force it, not to suppress it, but to understand it, to befriend it, to gently guide it, like an elder guiding a child, like a gardener tending a plant, like a monk sweeping the ground, with patience, with kindness, with diligence, without rush, without blame. The more we sit, the more we observe, the more we become aware that the mind is not a solid thing. It is a process, a flow, a stream. It changes from moment to moment. It is made of conditions, and those conditions can be transformed. If the mind is full of anger, We can water seeds of compassion. If the mind is full of fear, we can water seeds of trust. If the mind is full of craving, we can water seeds of contentment. This is the path of liberation, not through denying the mind, but through transforming it, through understanding it, through watching it clearly, without judgment, without grasping, just watching, just breathing, just being present. The Buddha used the image of the rider and the horse. If the horse is wild, the rider is thrown off. But if the rider is skilled, calm, gentle, the horse can be guided. So too with the mind. When we lack mindfulness, the mind throws us into suffering. But when we train in mindfulness, the mind becomes our friend, our vehicle, our path. To dwell in the cave means to come home, to come back to what is true, to see the flickering of thought, the rushing of emotion, the flow of sensation, and to rest in the space beneath all of that, the space that does not move, the awareness that simply is. As we learn to abide in this cave of the heart, we begin to see that Mara has no power here. Mara, the force of illusion, of ego, of grasping, cannot enter the cave of presence, of wisdom, of stillness. Here, the mind is no longer wandering, no longer seeking. It is simply resting, resting in the Dharma, resting in reality, resting in the breath. And with each breath, we return, again and again, returning from distraction, returning from delusion, returning from craving, back to this simple truth, that this moment, this breath, this presence, is enough. The more we practice, the more we see that freedom is not found in chasing thoughts, but in letting them go. Happiness is not found in satisfying every desire, but in understanding desire and going beyond it. Peace is not found in escaping the world, but in being fully present in it, with a calm and gentle mind. This is the great teaching of the Buddha, that the mind is the key, and that through taming the mind, we tame our life, we free our heart, we awaken to truth. So let us walk this path with sincerity, with humility, with joy. Let us practice daily. Let us return to the breath. Let us sit with stillness. Let us observe the mind. Let us gently guide it back to peace. Let us remember the verse, dwelling in the cave of the heart, without form. The mind wanders far and moves alone. Those who subdue this mind are liberated from the bonds of Mara. May we all enter that cave. May we all subdue the restless mind. May we all know the peace of liberation. The cave of the heart, sanctuary of silence. We begin today by returning to the image of the cave. This cave is not dark or forbidding. It is not empty or bleak. It is the living sanctuary of silence, of clarity, of presence. The world may pull us outward into busyness, complexity, noise, but the cave of the heart beckons us inward. Beneath the turbulence of thoughts, beneath the flicker of emotions, lies stillness eternal. To dwell in this cave is to know oneself beyond form, beyond narrative. In this sitting, we touch our true nature, undefiled by Mara's deceptions. Here we rest. Here we abide, not isolated, but awake. The mind, formless, wandering alone. The mind is described as without form. How can something so alive, so intimate, be formless? Because it arises and passes in every instant. It is not something we can hold in the hand. It is not limited to shape or time. It is a flow of momentary experiences, sounds, colors, sensations, thoughts, feelings, none of them static or true self. Yet this formlessness can be terrifying to the untrained mind. It cannot cling to solidity. It cannot stop the wandering. It craves to fix experience. And so we grasp the formless into form, into stories, identities, ambitions. But Dharma invites us to rest in the openness of mind. When we realize that the mind wanders far and moves alone, we can smile at its wildness. And we can choose not to chase after every wander, not to believe every flash. Who is the one that reigns? If the mind wanders alone, who is its master? We discover that the Buddha points us to our own awakening capacity. Subduing the mind is not an external domination. It is an inner realization. It is the coming home of awareness, its own light settling upon the turbulent waters. We become the aware presence that watches the mind move, but is not lost within it. Mara, the inner captain. The verse speaks of liberation from the bonds of Mara. Mara is not separate from us. It is the name we give to our own inner confusion, craving, clinging, forgetting. When the mind wanders into regret, greed, fear, pride, restlessness, Mara is reigning. To subdue the mind is to release Mara's grip, to entrust the captaincy back to awareness and compassion. Story of the candle and the window. There was once a monk who sat deep in the forest. At night, he lit a candle and placed it before the open window. The wind would blow strong, snuffing the flame once, twice, 3 times. He would relight it and watch the flame struggle. Finally, the monk brought the candle into the safety of a small cave. He placed it on the ground, lit it, and stepped back. The flame glowed steadily, unaffected by wind. The Buddha teaches that outside in the winds of distraction, efforts may fail again and again. But within the sanctuary, inside the cave of the heart, efforts settle into stillness. Guard the flame of awareness within your cave, away from the winds of Mara. The 2 paths, wandering versus abiding. One path is wandering. The mind looks for satisfaction outside. It chases experiences, ideas, illusions. It constantly goes, sees, seeks, but never settles. The other path, taming the mind, is resting in what already is. It is being naturally complete with presence, with what is given in each breath. We walk both. We learn to come home again and again, to be with the wandering mind, and to guide it kindly back to the cave. Practice, returning to the cave. Let us weave practice into life. Morning dedication. Begin with a seated mini retreat. Breathe 4 breaths. Visualize descending into your own heart cave. Set the intention, may I dwell in this cave, free from the bonds of haunting thoughts. During the day, anytime attention strays, pause, and inwardly say, cave, Let this bring you back. Evening reflection. Recall times the mind wandered into reactive patterns. Offer forgiveness. Return to breath. Revisit the feeling of descending inward. The cave grows familiar. Awareness deepens. The mind rests more easily, free of pursuing demands. Guided meditation. Now let us do a brief practice. Sit with spine erect, hands in lap, eyes gently closed. Breathe in. Rest in the inhale. Breathe out. Rest in the exhale. With each breath, sense the center of your heart. Sense inward space. Stillness, the cave. As thoughts arise, name them gently. Wandering mind, planning, remembering. Then allow them to pass, like leaves drifting down a stream. Return to breath. Repeat for several minutes, guided by the quiet echo, returning to cave, to heart. You're now practicing liberation, not fleeing the world, but returning to presence within it. Dharma story. The wise fisher. A wise fisherman lived by a lake with clear waters. Each evening, he sat quietly on the shore, watching the lake's surface reflect the sky. A student asked, "Master, how do you fish?" The fisherman smiled. "I do not cast nets. I do not chase fish. I simply become still. The fish come." The student looked puzzled. The fisherman continued, "When the water is stirred, the fish flee. When the water is still, they surface easily, curious, free." So it is with the mind and liberation. Stillness invites understanding. Presence frees craving to rest. Mara's bond. Irreversible. Mara is not invincible. Each moment of returning to stillness weakens his hold. Each time awareness tells craving, "Not now," another shard of bondage falls away. Do not dread the struggle. Do not despair of relapse. The path is inclusion, not rejection. Mara may yet return, but your own luminous presence becomes the refuge. The strength to face the storm without losing your peace. Cultivating quiet liberation. We practice because the cave is ever accessible. No incense, no ritual, no retreat. Simply attention. Simply returning to presence. This is liberation steeped in everyday life. Closing remembrance. Return now inward one more time. With each breath, descend into the cave. Visit the chamber of your heart. Know its vastness, its silence, its clarity. Let it hold all your moments, still and moving, joy and pain, the wandering and the settled. Here lies the power that liberates. Thank you for watching my video. Namalamitba. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel to review the short sermons of the Buddha. Thank you for listening to the Dharma.